Hi there, it's another One Piece theory video, or as I like to call them, the improvised, just random One Piece discussion videos, so to speak. This is the Angry Anime Fan, and I'm here to discuss, or at least try to discuss, a theory that I think a lot of people already have talked about, and this theory is actually not about this arc that I am complaining so very much about. Not the whole Kick Island arc, but no, I'm going back one arc to Soul arc because there's something I wish for you all to discuss. And I think I am not the only one who has discussed this. It's just that this weighed on my head, so I had to be the one to discuss this after all. It's about Inuarashi and Nekomamushi. Going back in the Soul arc, two very mighty minks, which actually, in my opinion, should be equal to a Yonko, or at least almost close to one, is more likely equal to one of them, their commanders, were best friends in the past. That much we know. But something happened that made them hate each other, and that hatred only grew until Kosuke Momonosuke said to them to call a truce. Their hatred very likely had not washed away from each other, but they have at least decided we will try to not, at least not to fight until ever this is resolved. So a part of me has actually begun to wonder, why did the cat and dog suddenly start hating each other? Despite the obvious animal stereotype of fighting like cat and dog, why? I believe there are clues in this story, and as I said before, I do not think I am the only one who have discussed this, but seeing that this was such a year ago, I haven't seen a One Piece video about this yet. It's about this. Here is the clues. I cannot exactly name the chapters though, who they were, so to speak. But it's I think it's like this. When Pedro and the and Wanda talked to all the different guardians, celebrating that the rulers had made up. Pedro mentioned that it was a lot that many years ago. Did he say it was 20? Well, given the fact that Roger was eliminated, no, executed 20 years ago, I think it was 20 years ago. Inuarashi and Nekomamushi came back from the sea. They were at each other's throats and in near death. It's not stated if they had continued to fighting while sailing all the way to Seoul, and that's why they were on each other's throats, or if they had just been left from a very grand battle. But given their hatred for each other, I think they just started to fight with each other non-stop on that ship until they, well, started to hate each other. That's the first thing we can do. That was a story about 20 years ago. The second clue comes from Momonosuke himself when he revealed that brat revealed that his father was not Kyunemon but Lord Oden. He begged Inuarashi and Nekomamushi to stop fighting, saying that you used to be best of friends. If my father saw you right now, he will cry or something like that. But he also said, "I do not, although I don't know the reason for your fight, I know it has something to do with my father. He would still feel very saddened if you keep on fighting." And then they immediately went on their knees and said, "Forgive me," showing that they have a very sense of deep loyalty towards Lord Oden and the Kosuke clan's will. Are you still with me? Given those things, I think we can place exactly almost what happened. So, what do I think is the reason for their inevitable, very dangerous falling out? I think it's actually loyalty. You may asking why. Well, I'm sorry, I cannot tell that in a straight manner, but I will try. It's like this. They were there for some reason. I'm saying some reason because I do not know exactly why Inuarashi and Nekomamushi were exactly the ones who were the retainers of Lord Oden. But given their long history, I have a feeling we're gonna know that in the Wano Kuri arc. In fact, this whole reason for their fallout, I think will be answered in Wano Kuri. But for now, we just can speculate. Either way, back on topic. They were vessels of Lord Oden. They said to be very young back then, maybe around the same age as Shanks and Buggy. Maybe. They sailed with Lord Oden as retainers on the Pirate King's ship and then on Whitebeard for some reason. And it's so that also means that they were in Wano Kuri when Lord Oden said he wanted to go with Roger. So seeing that Kinemon and Kanjuro and Raizo also already were retainers, were left in Wano. Nekomamushi and Inuarashi, which also have already left their place, joined as loyal retainers, where they saw a lot of things. However, Inuarashi said they did not accompany Lord Oden to Raftel, meaning that something happened way, or maybe even before they entered Raftel. So, and that's coming back to the loyalty question, so to speak. It goes like this. I believe there was a fight, not between Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, but I believe there was some sort of moment which can only be counted as disgrace for the two of them in front of their lords. I mean, in front of their lord. And so that thing, great, they created a great shame inside Inuarashi and Nekomamushi. So they at the beginning began to blame each other, but then later began to blame. I had to say this right. They began to blame each other, but then placed the blame on each other. Ugh, I know that sounded so confusing. What I meant to say is this loyalty, whatever this loyalty was, has something to do with, I think they realized they failed their lord. Because you think about it, Inuarashi and Nekomamushi holds a certain amount of honor, very similar to the Wano Kuri samurais. Something like it's a big disgrace to do that, and they share a very great love and respect to their fellow men and friends. So I think it's very likely that the reason why they had this fallout was because of some kind of loyalty. Misblamed loyalty is the wrong word. Something. How do I put this in words? I can only think of blaming each other because the other one wasn't loyal enough. Maybe. Of course, what happened back then, that's only pure speculation, but if I had to guess, I think it's also like, maybe they ended up in a fight together with Lord Oden they couldn't win. Maybe Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, freaked out in that fight. Nekomamushi has a scar, as does Inuarashi, although I don't know if he got that until after the fight against Jack. So those scars could very well tell history. And I think Lord Oden saved them from that inevitable battle, but at the price of something. And if you ask me, what's the biggest, shame, or maybe perhaps even burden a samurai can have? Well, besides that obvious disgrace of wanting to commit seppuku and stuff like that, hands. And why am I saying hands? Because a hand that cannot hold a sword anymore is no longer a samurai. So are you getting what I'm trying to say? Maybe Lord Oden saved Inuarashi and Nekomamushi from a fight at the cost of his hands. Or maybe not the cost of his hands, but the cost of him holding a sword. And for a Wano Kuri samurai, that's a big disgrace. And then it started with Inuarashi and Nekomamushi blaming each other. So Lord Oden not exactly banished them, but maybe sent them back to Seoul because if he couldn't, maybe he blamed himself for this disgrace and didn't, as Momonosuke said, Lord Oden will definitely blame himself for whatever reason this is, but he knew that Inuarashi and Nekomamushi will never blame him. Of course, everything I've said up until now is just pure speculations. But given the fact that it's loyalty and something to do with Lord Odin, I think it has something to do with their lord ended up in a situation which they both blamed each other for, and that blame eventually grew into hatred because the other one could just not accept. So I think it's something like that. That's actually my theory on why Inuarashi and Nekomamushi have fought for all these years. Of course, I could be wrong. I mean, maybe Lord Odin didn't burn his hands. I mean, why did I think he had a fight? I think Akainu may have met them in a while. It wouldn't surprise me if it was like that. Still, though, do not know. We cannot know what it is, but I'm staying with the theory for now that maybe the reason for their falling out was because of loyalty and that they blamed each other for not taking responsibility. So do give me your thoughts if you have any.